Retirement life ruined by these two things. I want to talk about something that matters deeply to many of us. What happens after we retire? We wait decades for this period, hoping for peace, freedom, and the chance to finally focus on our own happiness. But the truth is that some retirees find their later years spoiled, not by innocent hobbies or casual ways to pass the time, but by two extreme approaches to daily life that end up causing far more harm than good. Let's explore these pitfalls through the story of one American retiree, Mr. Thompson, and then discuss how each of us can avoid falling into these traps ourselves. Mr. Thompson spent over 35 years working in a large manufacturing plant. For decades, he would wake up before dawn, slip on his uniform, and head out for another busy shift. He'd often dream about the day he could finally relax with no boss to answer to. After all, retirement is supposed to be your big break, a reward for a lifetime of labor. He looked forward to the possibility of sleeping in, enjoying new hobbies, visiting old friends, and maybe even taking a few road trips with his wife across the country. Indeed, the plan sounded perfect. Yet, once retirement came, Mr. Thompson encountered two unexpected ways that a retiree's life could unravel. Ironically, these ways can appear to be quite ordinary on the surface. They might involve social activities like dance classes at the local community center, or perhaps a new pastime such as playing poker with the neighborhood buddies. Sometimes it involves traveling around to reconnect with old friends you haven't seen in years. The problem is not these activities themselves. Rather, it's the extremes. Some people go overboard, some withdraw completely, and neither route leads to true fulfillment. First, let's talk about the extreme of staying at home too much. After his farewell party at the plant, Mr. Thompson quickly realized that his initial blissful state, sleeping in as late as he wanted, lounging around with no schedule, had its pitfalls. He began staying inside for days on end. If his wife suggested they visit an old friend or just take a walk in the park, he'd shrug it off. The couch became his fortress. He binge-watched old westerns on TV, scrolled aimlessly on his tablet, and fell asleep whenever he felt like it. At first, it seemed like the break he deserved, but over time, it turned him into a recluse. When you stay home day after day, it's easy for life to lose its spark. You're not out there soaking in new experiences or crossing paths with fresh ideas. You fall into the same repetitive loop of waking up, having a quick bite, and resuming that well-worn seat on the couch. It's comfortable, but in a dangerous way. Your mind can become as stagnant as a pond with no fresh water flowing in. And just as that pond eventually turns murky, so does our outlook when we withdraw from the world. That was exactly what began happening to Mr. Thompson. He began to notice three important consequences. First, his life became stagnant. While the world outside kept moving and evolving, his days were stuck in the same pattern. Without anything new to look forward to, he found himself restless and sometimes even depressed, even though he could not pinpoint a reason. Second, his mind started to grow more rigid. He wasn't learning anything new or staying updated on technology and changing social norms. The simplest tasks, like checking in at a doctor's office with a digital kiosk, turned into huge challenges. Finally, he realized the most heartbreaking reality. He was wasting away the time he had left. Retirement, ironically, was slowly turning into a drawn-out waiting period rather than a fulfilling new chapter. The problem with isolation is not that staying home is inherently bad. Some people love solitude, and there's beauty in quiet reflection. But the real harm comes when that solitude is taken to the extreme, when you disconnect so thoroughly that you barely know how to interact with the outside world. A philosopher once commented that all of humanity's troubles come from our inability to remain comfortably by ourselves in a room. Yet there's a twist. If you're going to spend hours alone, do something meaningful. Read books that challenge your perspective. Pick up a hobby you've always wanted to try. Cultivate your mind, or learn new skills that keep you engaged. Simply sleeping or scrolling through the phone fosters mental decay, not growth. On the other end of the spectrum is the second extreme, being too busy. Some retirees can't let go of the hustle-bustle pace of working life. Retirement does not slow them down. In fact, they become even more frantic and overcommitted. Mr. Thompson's good friend from the plant, Mr. Evans, swung in that exact opposite direction. The moment he retired, Mr. Evans made a to-do list that was jam-packed with community events, volunteer projects, side jobs, and even a travel itinerary that left almost no time to unwind. He was constantly on the move, driving from one place to another, picking up odd jobs, trying to keep up with younger folks in physically demanding activities. On paper, you'd think that someone so active would be on top of the world. However, Mr. Evans's busyness left him perpetually drained, because his mind and body no longer had the resilience of a younger person. He'd collapse into bed every night exhausted, only to wake up and do it all over again. There was never a pause, never a moment to sit quietly on the porch, sipping tea and enjoying the sunset. In trying to avoid the trap of isolation, he fell into an even bigger one: burnout. Being excessively busy in retirement has its own set of problems. First and foremost, there's the toll on your physical health. Our bodies age, whether we like it or not. If you don't listen to your body's signals, you risk pushing yourself to the point of exhaustion or serious injury. Next, there's the financial obsession. Some retirees work part-time or freelance jobs, either out of necessity or just to stay occupied. That's fine in moderation. But when you push too hard for extra income, perhaps because you're worried about not having enough, or you feel pressured to maintain a certain lifestyle, you can wind up trapped in a cycle of stress similar to your younger working days. Third, being constantly busy can make you easily irritable. With endless tasks on your plate, your patience might run thin. Family gatherings become chores, minor inconveniences spark arguments, and your own frustration builds. Neither of these extremes, disappearing into the four walls of your home or juggling responsibilities like you're still in your prime, brings the peace and contentment so many retirees crave. True happiness, as Mr. Thompson eventually discovered, rests in the balance. You need space for rest, and also moments of dynamic activity. You need the freedom to spend a lazy afternoon lost in a good book or music, but also the self-discipline to step out, meet friends, and stretch your legs both physically and mentally. A balanced retirement life allows for socialization, mental stimulation, and the joy of not being governed by a rigid schedule. Still, Mr. Thompson realized that beyond these two lifestyle extremes, there was another major issue that often ruins retirement for older Americans: the way they handle family finances. Many retirees find themselves giving too much to their adult children, or stepping into situations that drain their funds in ways they never anticipated. This can leave them financially vulnerable and emotionally resentful. After all, you worked hard to accumulate what you have, so preserving some financial dignity in later life is not selfish. It is your right. One of the most common pitfalls is spending all your savings to help a child buy or renovate a home. The logic usually goes, if I help them now, maybe they'll take care of me when I can't take care of myself. But in reality, what if that grand new house doesn't even have room for you? It's heartbreaking to see retirees who sacrifice their nest egg for a child's home, only to discover they're not truly welcome to live there. Some end up in cramped basements or old sheds on the property, feeling more like a burden than a guest. It's not that parents shouldn't help their children at all. Some help may be both generous and wise, but draining your entire retirement fund could leave you vulnerable, especially if circumstances change. Then, there's the issue of handing over full control of your money. If you tell your adult kids exactly how much you have stashed away, and you relinquish control to them, you risk serious problems. Not every child is manipulative, of course, but with the wrong personalities at play, or even just misunderstandings about money, tensions can grow. It's easy for siblings to suspect favoritism if mom or dad gives more to one child than another. And if everything is out in the open, children might push boundaries, believing it's just an advance on their inheritance anyway. In a worst-case scenario, you can lose your financial independence entirely. Raising grandchildren is another tricky territory. Many grandparents love to babysit and help out. Indeed, it's a beautiful way to connect generations. But there's a massive difference between occasionally buying a grandchild a treat or contributing a small sum for their birthday and footing all of a family's childcare bills or private school tuition. Sometimes, grandparents end up working part-time jobs or dipping into precious savings to pay for these expenses. That can lead to resentment if the adult children start to see this help as a given or become dismissive of the sacrifices being made. It can also breed tension among siblings who don't receive the same level of support. Family marriages can also strain retirees financially. If an adult child is planning a big wedding, it's tempting for parents to step in and shower them with funds to make the day special. But these celebrations can spiral out of control. Some couples expect enormous gifts, honeymoon expenses, or even a down payment on a home as part of the wedding budget. Parents who are afraid of looking cheap or who are worried about future in-laws' judgments might exhaust their resources on a single event that lasts only a few hours. With the rising costs of everything, from catering to the venue, it can be easy to go too far. Mr. Thompson learned that a balanced approach to supporting children is essential. Yes, you can be generous if you have the means, but never to the point that you jeopardize your own security. It's crucial to retain a measure of financial autonomy, especially when you have medical considerations, home maintenance, or potential emergencies that could come up at any time. In the American healthcare landscape, a single hospital stay or major procedure can be extremely expensive, and you don't want to be caught without a safety net. Along this same line, it is wise to communicate openly yet carefully with your family about money. You don't need to broadcast every detail, but it helps to set healthy boundaries. For instance, if your adult child asks for a large sum, you might explain, gently but clearly, the limitations of your retirement budget. If they really need help, perhaps you can offer a small loan or partial support, or guide them to alternative solutions. If they become upset, remember you have no moral or legal duty to sabotage your own peace of mind just to spare their ego. Protecting your own stability is an act of self-care that, in the long run, may benefit everyone. So where does that leave us? Ultimately, Mr. Thompson realized that retirement is a crossroads. It can become the best time of your life or a spiral toward dissatisfaction and hardship. Avoiding the traps of isolation and busyness is a matter of balance, allowing yourself the joy of free days while still venturing out enough to stay connected, learning new things, and embracing a meaningful routine. It's the difference between letting each day slip away unnoticed and treating your time with the respect it deserves. Moreover, while you do have obligations to family, you should not feel compelled to exhaust your resources or independence. There's a certain dignity in preserving a nest egg for your own well-being. After all, golden years doesn't only refer to your hair color, it's meant to be a chapter where you can shine, exploring passions that you might have put off, building deeper relationships, and staying involved in community life at a pace that feels healthy. Whether you choose to volunteer at your local library, join a choir, take painting lessons, or simply have coffee once a week with old colleagues, the key is consistent, moderate engagement. In the spirit of ancient wisdom, let's recall a few words from thinkers who remind us about the sweet spot of living well. A simpler paraphrase of an old concept says, "If you stretch a bowstring too tight, it snaps. If you leave it too loose, it never plays a tune." Retirement is no different. You have to tune your lifestyle so it's in harmony with your capabilities, desires, and evolving place in the world. It might help to remember that you're not alone. Countless retirees find themselves struggling to figure out what comes next. How do I spend my time meaningfully? Should I travel? Should I find a part-time job to stay active? How often should I help the kids financially without enabling them? If you resonate with these questions, you're in good company. Talking things over with close friends, support groups, or even online forums can provide a sense of perspective. Often, listening to how others have navigated these issues yields insights you might never have considered on your own. Here's a gentle reminder that life still has an incredible amount to offer after your last day of work. You can discover or rediscover talents. You can finally read those books or write your own. You can see new parts of your state or your country, or spend time in nature. You can form new friendships, cherish long-standing ones, and find ways to give back. Whether that's volunteering at an animal shelter or mentoring a teenager who needs guidance. Sometimes simply connecting with people in your community, such as playing cards at a local senior center or participating in casual fitness classes, can be wonderfully uplifting. The important thing is to remain open to new experiences and relationships, even as you cultivate the comfort of a quieter home life. As you reflect on this message, consider how these ideas may apply to your own situation or that of a loved one. Are you leaning too far into isolation, letting the walls close in around you? Or are you busying yourself to the point of burnout? Have you given away too much of your financial freedom? Or are you worried about the guilt of not giving enough? Explore your own answers. When you speak with other retirees, you'll notice many share the same challenges but have found creative solutions or are still seeking them. That's part of the journey. Remember that the best road to a meaningful retirement is one marked by moderation, self-awareness, and open-hearted communication. Embrace the quiet moments without losing touch with the world. Stay active in mind, body, and spirit, but learn to stop and breathe when your energy flags. Offer help to family when it's reasonable and safe for you, but never feel compelled to sacrifice your own security. A healthy sense of boundaries, combined with warmth and generosity, can foster stronger relationships rather than resentment. Finally, I invite you to share your thoughts. If you've already retired, what has your experience been like? Did you ever find yourself or a loved one falling into one of these extremes of isolation or constant busyness? How did you strike a better balance? And if you're still working but thinking about retirement, what do you envision? Let's keep the conversation going. Your experiences and insights could illuminate the path for someone else who is still trying to find their footing in this new phase of life. Thank you for listening. May we all find a fulfilling and graceful way to navigate the years ahead, staying energized and inspired without sacrificing the restful pauses that remind us how precious each moment can be. If you found value in this discussion, feel free to share it with friends who might need a nudge in a healthier direction. Let's remember that after all the years of hard work, retirement should be a time of renewal, guided by balance, not ruined by extremes.